and welcome. You guys, if you have not been joining me on Instagram, you have not seen me for a while. I'm usually on there every day giving little pop-in stories and updates. But on my Facebook, I will also put the astrology updates and text and give you my thoughts and my text and my thoughts and my text and my thoughts on my things on the astrology. But it's been very, very busy lately for me, guys, in work and in education and in work and in education. And then people in my family. Two things. Had COVID. Everybody had COVID. People had COVID. So people got the sickness and, just trying to take care of, you know, sick. And then also for those of you who are not checking in with the news, I'll be doing No Man's Land on Friday night. And hi, Carson. And that is going to be, hopefully not a huge wake up call, but if you're wondering where some of the supplies and things are, the minimized shelves, the semi trucks and all the trucks up in Canada, here in Minnesota in the north, we see some of the things. Hey, Katie, happening a little sooner. However, like my dad, who's on dialysis and needs daily treatment and has stuff at home that usually gets delivered in a 30-day increment, for the last 2 months hasn't been delivering. And so people on at-home dialysis throughout the country are not receiving their medical treatment. That's because it only takes about 2 to 3 days for a stop on the semi truck road. If that halts, guys, it's really gonna to put a hankering on things. So I've been seeing a lot of that in my own personal life, and so that of course comes first to social media. So I've just been kind of working and doing the things. So I hope you guys, wherever you are well, and be sure and tag a friend and share this message. I'm just popping in really quickly to give you the astrology for the day and get your thoughts and updates for anything that might be happening in your area. Today is Thursday, January 27th, and there's only really one big thing happening in the astrological space today, and that is the moon is entering Sagittarius. But I work in social services. I'm working with crisis, people with mental health disorders, and especially with recidivism, watching and predicting, and then in a creative space doing psychic, occult research. It's all about prediction of human behavior and the ripples out. So the moon in Sagittarius, that's going to be the very beginning. That's a moon thing, right? So I don't know how you guys feel when things on the inside, dropping a pebble in the lake. Hey, Brad. Hey, Mary. Your moon is your lunar cycle, your sperm cycle, your spit, your chi, your flow, your momentum, your current under the current. So how have you been feeling? If you're looking at your birth chart, your moon sign, it's not your sun sign, not your rising sign, your moon sign. And the moon, mine Virgo, uh, that's how I would know when I feel my best in the month is when the moon is in the same sign as it was in your birth chart. And it's in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius means it's philosophical contemplation. Today is going to be a lot of people thinking, curious, open-minded, but wanting to explore and experiment, because Sagittarius is that fire sign where people are out in the yang, testing, pushing, poking, prodding, prepping, wild energy. It's high risk, it's high impulse, it's suggestible. It's a momentum that, if you've been thinking about it, water's running deep. Yesterday's delays, mistakes, concerns are going to set you up for what today? What is the predictable momentum for how things are going? What happened yesterday sets you up for what today? Right, Dolly? So this is the vibe. This is the flow. I am going to share with you guys a new, not a new thing, but a spread that I'm doing this week on my divination specials. Every week I run specials. I share those a lot on Instagram as well. I'm doing the churchyard spread this week, which is great. It's 13 cards. Some people use 12, some people use 13. The idea is that you are taking your tarot deck, pulling out the Fool, the very first card, the naive, the beginning, the very first Sephiroth on the tree of life, and that you are pulling that out and that that's going to represent you. And so the rest of this deck does not have the Fool in it. So as I pull cards for you guys here really quickly, just wanted to pop in and give you that update. I got to work again here at 12:30. So I'll pull cards really quickly for you. And if you want a churchyard spread, they're only $33. 13 cards. I pull 12 randomly, lay them out. That's giving you your year, your 12 months. But it's not really a month It could be just what you're going through, and wherever the Fool lies in that timeline, it gives you kind of an indicative idea of the progression of where you are at. So kind of cool. It's a different way of doing a spread if you're used to doing, the Celtic cross or just pulling one card for a daily affirmation or something. The ability to see it in a linear way and a line, kind of cool. So let me know if that's something that you would like. Private message me or check out paranormalsarah.com and we will get you hooked up. Meanwhile, I'm going to pull a card for each and every one of you, just going through really quickly. All you've got to do is give me your permission. It's like a vampire. I cannot take your soul if you don't let me. So you've got to let me know if I'm going to be able to give you that divine intervention. It's the same reason people on TikTok get all saucy if you're scrolling and they're like, let me do Reiki for you, and they're already doing it. The idea is that you always ask permission. That's a part of consent. So Brad, Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Earth, the Queen of Pentacles. This is the matriarch, the feminine silent. Now that's kind of an oxymoron, but the idea that you are thinking and feeling, trying to kind of be quiet about it, but that things are brewing. And the queen, she knows how to nurture things. She may not always know the best, that would be the king, but her intentions are good. All these kids, they're poor, they don't have any shoes on, and they're running around, but she's got her expensive stuff. She's handing it out. She's capable. She's nurturing. This is a matriarch, feminine energy of investments. This is saying if you're going to be investing money, if you're looking to grow things, then I want you to be looking at the feminine ways in which to do that. Cryptocurrency, this would be more like NFTs and creative things instead of something that's more high risk or impulsive, which you might be thinking of doing today. Look at the feminine queen parts of the earth and silent energy and grow them as a mustard seed slowly and that way. Adventures of Joel and Deb. Joel, please. Joel. Ooh, the Eight of Wands. I love this. She's got her tool out there. She is crapping down stuff. And I love this card because look, this raven coming in, Hugin or Mugen, whichever you might prefer, going, wait a second, wait a second. The number 8, the infinity, the give and receive, the reciprocation and connection, that which we are to all around us, would say, hey, before you go out and cut things down, before you go out and do all your crops, before you go out and do that thing, hey, real quick, Joel, listen up. There's a message coming. Before you do the thing, you've got a little bit of a little bit piece of more information coming your way. Okay? So before stop, hold up, wait a minute, don't go there because I ain't with it. Take a second to answer the call and then do the things. Air, is that Air Dragon? What a beautiful screen name. Okay, Air Dragon, boom. The Knight of Cups. This is a water energy. This is emotions, intuitions. This is feeling all the feels. And the Knight of Cups, look at him. He says, bitch, I'm going to get drunk and go out and do the things and slay the dragons. Because a knight is a masculine energy that knows exactly what it wants to do. It doesn't always know how, but it wants, and it's passionate, and my golly, it's going to do the thing. So what I love about this is that this is feelings, passion, desire, and it's under the full moon. And the moon right now in Sagittarius would suggest, Air Dragon, that things are going to be done. You gonna do it. Things are going to happen. So go ahead and start thinking about the consequences and the long-term effects now, because this night he's about to drop and go. Okay. And it's an intuitive thing that needs to be an intuitive thing. Okay. Go with the flow. Carson, boundaries, totally get it. Please share some wisdom. Man, we've been talking a lot about boundaries. I work in forensic psychology, so some of the cases that came my way today were a person that was acting out a fantasy to the point that it was decapitating their partner. What? These things do happen. It's rare, but they do. And then in that case, they're coming across my table and we're talking about the differentiation between fantasy and reality. Talk about the metaverse, the matrix, whether or not you're fantasizing about BDSM or something, and how you're going to make that real or not real. And the subtle difference between a fantasy and a goal. How do you make it real? And if your fantasy isn't healthy, how do you keep it from becoming real? Because consequences usually aren't a part of a fantasy. And once it becomes reality, you're going to be dealing with more than you thought about, because that's by definition what will happen. So boundaries, it's the precipice, it's the meniscus, it's the line in the sand, it's the gray area, knowing what you know and discerning the difference. And I think that just being able to know what you know and then say, okay, I know this, and then the feelings for both my psychic clients as well as my mental health clients. But in psychology, I'm often using quantum mechanics and science because that's something we can come to a base understanding. And so, if you've ever seen this, you'll know that you've probably had a discussion with me or someone else in reference to yin and yang. And we can bring this into whatever religious belief you might have or whatever. But scientifically speaking, understanding boundaries is really, really exciting. And it's a really cool discussion. So, boundaries today are going to be small. All you're going to have to be able to do is say, you know what, if you've been thinking about it, do it. And then someone's going to do it. It's going to take very little for people to be impulsed into action today because it's Sagittarius feelings. The cards, great. I like them. It is still an active artist you can follow online. It's the Deviant Moon series, and they're out of Connecticut, which is kind of cool, Stanford, Connecticut. And what I love about this artist, kind of creepy, kind of weird, they're stylized by Patrick Valenza. I never paid attention to the last name so much. I just know it as Patrick. Beautiful. And there's many versions of this deck. So you can still go get them signed, get art, and I like it. I would love your insight on litter boxes being put in our school bathrooms. Oh, because of the children identifying as a cat, which the sad thing about that is it's not about children identifying as a cat or non-human creature or different species as much as it is the concern for it being furries, which is an entirely different thing. It's the objectification or mask wearing, dissociative sexual behavior that isn't appropriate for people who are still in a developmental stage of understanding their own sexual autonomy. So no, we don't need to add more information where information is still being learned and deciphered. My personal opinion. There's no reason that there should be a litter box in a bathroom for children who should be toilet trained by the time they're entering into public school. So that's just sanitation. But it is apparently a problem. And it is the biggest problem is that people think that it's about kids thinking that they're cats, which that's like role playing make believe, which is totally normal. And you might have like a make believe kitty litter box in like the play area in the kindergarten class, but in a third grade bathroom because you think that it's okay for children to wear foxtails and hump on each other because they're asexual and trying to learn what's okay and not okay. And we should, as the adult at them point, say that is not okay. That is not okay in public. If you want to be an 18 or over furry and do that and buy the outfit and engage in that and know your own sexual reasons because you like to regress, then that's fine. But if you're 9, the likelihood that you can even communicate why you would want to do that is probably so limited that you should just be guided in what is going to be healthy, and sanitation is a good place to start. So, Mary, that's a really political question, but I know where you're going with it. And my concern is that people think that when we say cat box or litter box, that they're not talking about cats pretending to be cats. They're pretending to be furries. And furries is sexual kink and sexual play that is to be between consensual adults. That's how I feel. But I may or may not be in the minority on that. So watch my divination go viral for something else that I didn't mean. But good question, and thank you for asking. And it is obviously relevant. I'm often out in the community working with people, helping talk with people about what a sexual offender looks like, what a sexual offender is, what sexual deviant behavior looks like, what sexual deviant behavior is, what normal sexual behavior is and isn't, and what is normal. And let's face it, in the last 10 years, being a psychic, witch, and forensic psychologist, as well as conspiracy theorist, have been a wild ride just in the last 3 years. Not only for credibility's sake, but credibility's sake. It's gone both ways. So sad that I have experience in that. But yeah, the furry thing. Yeah. There's a thank you, Grissom and NCIS Vegas, crime scene, CSI Vegas. Greg Sestero is one of the actors on that show. Really wonderful philosophical discussions outside of the script writing. And furries was put into an episode there where they used ipecac and civet oil to kill somebody at a furry orgy. And ipecac would be totally normal on someone who is dressed as a cat furry, but it's also going to help you vomit. And ipecac and civet oil is like an aphrodisiac and combined with alcohol. And it was a really good episode. Um, and I learned about furries too. And that was like 1999. And then I remember, of course, going into forensics later, always kind of having that stored in my mind. And then later, the foxtails and the anime, and it smears into an area where some people are furries and they're quite invested in that lifestyle, and it's non-sexual. And then there's people that it's only sexual because obviously they get to wear an outfit and you don't have to have confrontation of your looks. You could be a big fat hairy man, you could be a big fat hairy woman, you could have big areolas, you could have crooked penis, doesn't matter, you're in a furry suit, so you're not going to be judged. And a lot of people identify with that, and so it was an issue. Anyway. Mary says, okay, Carson asked for a card now, by the way. Okay, Carson, here is your card. And I really enjoy your mind. Oh, thank you. I did those lessons and I don't know if anyone ever paid attention to them. So I really appreciate Mysteries of the Mind. I should redo that. Carson, this is a Four of Wands. So Four of Wands, you can see the four, it's the prism, it's the square, it's the cube, it's this stable 4 points. It's how we build a structure. Put the four studs up and you go from there. And I love this because the card, as weird as they are imaged, you see that they're kind of doing a hand binding. Even though it is wands, this is building in the structure of a foundation that is going to grow. This is a home. This is a domestic strength. This is what you're doing, not just what you're talking about, but what you're doing. And so it's fantastic. The people who lived in the gourd, and here they are. It's the beginning of a structure that is going to be strong, and it shows that there's a domestic strength and courage happening. That's really, really beautiful. So 5 more minutes here. My son asked, what is she talking about? Hopefully it's appropriate. Sorry for any children listening. Steph, but I'm listening. Good, good, good. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I love being able to pop in here. I do this daily. I do very quick things on Instagram. If you're more cryptic and visual, you can join me there at Paranormal Sarah. I am picking cards. Sarah, please pull a card. I am doing well. I'm feeling much better. Sarah, let's pull a card for you. Sarah, ooh. Yes, this is cups. This is the 9 of cups. This is the Jinn, the wishmaster. Be careful what you wish for, Sarah. Things are coming true. And so what I love is that this Jinn, this genie, rest in peace, Rosemary, is the idea that a wish really is something that can happen. Okay. And that fantasy reality line is connected. There is a line for which you will start to think and say it, and it will become. It will manifest. And the 9 of cups is very intuitive. This is about knowing and wishing and feeling, if you really want that, you can have it, but try and think of it to full fruition and understand that 9 means you're almost there, not quite, but almost. And this is a really good indication that the light is at the end of the tunnel and it's about to happen. So put the final touches on it, but be careful with the details because always the devil is in the details, right? Susie says, man, no furries here. Can I get a card if it's not too late, says Steph. Of course it's not too late. Steph, whatever you're brewing and thinking about, this is the 6 of Wands. So the 6, you guys, when my grandma and when I was learning numerology, you've got your one hand. This is the first round. First high five, first punch in the face. And that first self, romance, the third wheel, 4 is for stability, and 5 is high five and you're done. Boom, punch in the face because it's going to start right over. But the second hand, it mirrors the first, but 6 is individual doing it the second time around. 7 is the next level of that relationship, probably children or things like that. 8 on the next is the third wheel, the give and reciprocation with extroverted energy or the environment, not just a third wheel person standing over you, micromanaging that date at 16, but this is like, damn, now I got a career that's micromanaging my marriage. And 9 is like the 4, almost there, strong and stable, building, and almost there, 4 and even, but not quite 10, which is going to be the resolution, the completion, the double high five, double punch in the throat, going to be serious. Now, we're at 6. 6 doing something in an individual way, doing something out on your own again, being individual in nature, but it's the second time you're doing it. So there's deja vu. Hey, this isn't like it was when I was young. This isn't like my first marriage. This isn't like the first dog I had. Careful, 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 careful that what you're doing on another level in a better way isn't being compared to the previous things. That instead you say, bitch, I remember when I did that the first time, and what I liked was this, and what I didn't like was that. And what I'm going to change is what I didn't like, and I'm going to keep all the other stuff. Right? Ooh. So it's that you're tethered, not anchored. You're grounded, not confined. So 6 is nostalgia. And that word, nostalgia, deja vu. You can learn from it. Don't get lost in it. And this is in fire. So in fire, Sagittarius today, this is likely going to be in a workspace, something you're doing, going out to grocery shop, and someone says, oh, you're making stir fry? Well, when I make stir fry, I do it like this. And you go, oh, okay, great. Well, that's not what I do. And the idea that 6 is you're going to be learning a new way of doing something that you already know how to do. And the fact that it's wands would say that it's in doing. It's in your career. It's in what verb you're engaging in. It's that learning, maybe you're trying to work out again, or you're getting back into the gym. You're doing something in a new way with tethers to the old way. Does that make sense? Okay. I think it will. Steph, hopefully that makes sense. She said, yes, yes, yes. This works right now. Okay, good. Mary, I love your insight, and I love it when you guys join me because, my goal is always to bridge science and spiritualism. I have worked so much of my life in a spiritual space and a psychological space, a pseudoscience space, but it is real. And the work that we do is real, and the conversations you have are real. And Plato and his philosophical conversations were real enough that we talk about them now, and they've empirically shaped our future just as they did our history in different ways, but they are real. So I love quantum mechanics. I love being able to know that what I don't see to a certain point is going to be double slit, and that what I know can change what will be. And predictability and psychic phenomenon and manifestation, whether we're using it in military or we're using it in clinical psychology or we're using it in paranormal research, it's consistent if you're using the same science, which is exciting. And to know that it can be consistent across all 3 boards just is less work for me. So thank God. But sometimes talking from one category to the next can be difficult. So it is a bridge. It's a shaky, wobbly, changing bridge that we have to go over each time, thinking just because it was here yesterday doesn't mean it's going to hold up today. It's changing. It's growing always. And so I'm skeptical every day, but I do love divination. I love numerology. I love science. I love being able to think of earth, water, air, and fire and how to apply that. Katie, thoughts on EMDR therapy? So eye movement is what I'm assuming you're talking about with EMDR, because there's also emotional release techniques, which are slightly different, but still in the same category of physical stimulus and the touching that does to recalibrate your brain, which EMDR has been known to work amazing for people with certain trauma or arousal responses, because, we are resetting and it's the hippocampus and amygdala, I believe, are the 2 things that they're primarily working on there. But I get vestibular issues with EMDR. Doing eye movement things for anxiety absolutely can help resetting yourself, looking left, looking right, looking left, looking right, keeping your nose lined up, but doing peripheral checks. I do this in hypnosis a lot to regress clients, and it is helpful. If you have vestibular issues, it can cause a headache. For some people, it works really well. Other people, not so much. But that's why I love evidence-based therapies and why and how they do work. And sometimes people have what they think is a mental disorder of PTSD, and it's PTSI. And what they think might work over here ends up not working over there. What's exciting is there's always more options. But I like EMDR. I feel like it can be terribly emotional. People need to prepare for it. There can be such a vivid response and stimulus overload that people can't finish the rest of their day. So don't make those appointments between work or on a lunch break if you're not completely familiar with how your body will respond. It is a thing that's physiologically going to get a response of some kind. And so it sometimes is euphoria, other times it's not. So be aware. Elderberry, can't hardly believe our little Kansas City suburbs are the best place in America to live. It's funny, Elderberry. That's what Kansas City would say, and I would say that too, being from Kansas City. But as far as the measurements go, yes and no. I moved to Minnesota because of the state health care. At the time, I was struggling with ovarian cancer, and I needed options to be able to live as a student with parents who made far too much money to ever get financial security through school, and still have health care and work. And so I moved to Minnesota because it was a very clean state, pet friendly state, and healthcare. And I thought that was really great. And now, 15 years later, I traveled the world. I've lived in many different states. They all have really great things to offer. They're all changing a lot these days, the last few years, dramatically. But schools teach different things. Kansas City has changed so much. Minneapolis has changed so much. I grew up in Parkville, Kansas City, went to Park Hill South. Um, and it's very different than when it was when I went there. Um, Love the way you explain things. Good, good, good. Carson, thank you for joining me. You guys, I know that my schedule is inconsistent on this, and some people have said, like, oh, I'd join you more frequently on social media if you did it at the same time. But I'm a mother, and I try and be involved in my children's lives. That means I cook and I clean. And also, I work full time as a forensic counselor, and I'm also pursuing my doctorate in higher education beyond my master's for research. And so that means that a lot of times I don't get everything done. I just don't. And I'm a Virgo who thinks I can. And so I have 20 things on my to-do list in my journal, but I'm not always getting them done. And this year was the year that I'm going to be just completing more things. And then my dad's health is on the decline. So my dad's health comes first. And so I've learned to put a lot of things for my ego on the side. And one of those is being able to chime in on social media at the same time every day. I just can't always. But if you do like chiming in and learning along with me, later today, I'm going to be doing a forensic case on a decapitation of reality to fantasy. And if you are interested in joining me later on that discussion, that'll be later tonight on Facebook. I do not love Kansas because I went to the University of Missouri, Columbia. And so fuck KU. I'm supposed to say that. However, I did work at Leavenworth, and I've driven through Kansas many times. Love Minnesota, not necessarily Twin Cities anymore, said someone. They're both beautiful. Twin Cities is the closest to Kansas City that I have ever seen outside of Kansas City. It's very similar to the Kansas City, Kansas border and the suburbs and how it functions. Um, and you guys, I will be in Kansas City again in the middle of February. So if you are someone who's going to do a live reading or a live photo shoot, be sure and let me know, and we can try and meet up. I'm there helping out with my dad, but I'll do my best. What does the significance of 222 have in numerology? Well, for me, numerology is if something is repetitive, especially boom, 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 that's past, present, future. This is 3 times a charm. This is just kind of our learning method here in gosh, the baseball 3 strikes, right? The 3, the trifecta, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, yada, yada, yada. The 3 repeats just says, notice me, notice me, notice me. The fact that it's 2 would be indicative of what does 2 mean to you. It's going to be very subjective to how it makes you feel and what it is. But numerology for me is always to bring it down to the closest number, 2, 2, and 2. That's 2, 4, 6. 6. I told you kind of how I felt about 6. It's very nostalgic. It's asking you to apply old lessons to new things. If you are looking at angel numbers, even in numerology, I will divide them down because I'm an Eastern Star Freemason trained Christian raised witch, which means that the 4 Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, earth, water, air, fire, the 4 pillars are going to be broken down. You're looking at 6. You're looking at air. You're looking at Archangel Raphael. You're looking at areas of discernment and invocation, commanding space. I would say Psalms 41 or Psalms 41 2. I know your name and now you are mine. Some of the beginning spaces of exorcism and the rites of commanding your space. That's where I go with 222, but you're asking me. Other people will have a different answer. Just wondering which, because I'm not a big Facebook person. On the Facebook page, so whenever I'm doing these streams, guys, I go to StreamYard, and StreamYard lets me pick 6 different platforms. So I'm on 6 different platforms all at the same time right now. depending on how we want to apply that. Instagram is something I do personally. I'm on my Instagram, checking my phone on Instagram often. I am not on my Facebook often because I don't love Facebook, and Messenger likes to restart my phone because I work in military and I'm going in and out of places that I cannot have a phone that has certain internet applications on it. So, um, yeah, I'll use Instagram. Go figure. And I'll get lost on TikTok. I don't post a lot on TikTok, obviously, because I work with a forensic demographic and I have to be limited. But um, you can find me anywhere. But Facebook at Paranormal Sarah is where you're going to be able to find me. And please direct message me and sign up for notifications, and we will not miss each other. So how did the 666 become a thing? That depends on if we're talking about numerologically, or like in the Christian realm, or in the Western realm, or in like, that can be a whole different numerological discussion and also sacred geometry discussion. I got notices for your channel and the paranormal channel. Yes, because this goes out on the paranormal channel, the astrology and alchemy channel, paranormal Sarah channel, like all the different places you can find me. What about Twitch? I am a gamer, but my gamer online self is a different version of me. It's a dissociated version of me that no one else knows about. And so I don't do Twitch. I should, though, I suppose, huh? I also don't do OnlyFans, so don't ask. 666 inspired by Nero. Ah, he who sits watching everything burn. Quite possibly. I have a really good book on that, actually, sitting right there, Brad. I'll take a picture of it and send you it. Kind of talks a little bit about that, but reach out to Bob Packett. He's the one to talk to about any inspirations of numerological uh, stuff of Nero. Susie, yay, Mary, thank you so much for joining me. You guys, I just love it when you join me on here and you have fun questions and interaction. And you could do a paranormal stream. I watch political streams on Twitch. Really? I, I've been having my No Man's Land. I can't have it on YouTube. People block me. I did one episode when I finally got unbanned, and I was reported, and I can't for the life of me know and figure out what I was reported for. And it gets really frustrating when you take time and energy, to do that and make my notes. And I'm a Virgo, so I've got all my paper, and I get excited to go online, and I tell people I'm going to go online, and then you get banned. It's very deflating. And so I don't know if Twitch is that way, and I have struggled with trying to find new platforms because of the effort it takes to do so. So let me know if that's as common over there, and if not, maybe I'll do it. Otherwise, I'm going to be joining my friend Rocky on his own network, and fuck them if they can't take a joke. Yeah. So Steph, maybe you guys will guide me to Twitch in 2022. We'll see. Am I still pulling cards? Love Bob Packett. Bob Packett was my sister's high school teacher, my high school teacher, and then when I went to Maple Woods Community College with the AA program, he was the college history professor there. So I followed Bob Packett for years, decades, actually, decades. And now I follow him on his History According to Bob podcast. And I love his history podcast. Some of his things on the executions of France were fantastic. So, love it. Steph, if you would like, let me know what the bleep uncool. I know, right? It's really frustrating. It's very frustrating. And Mr. Nelson, by the way, if anybody works in the PHS department, Mr. Nelson was one of my favorite philosophy teachers. He totally instigated me into taking my secular humanism presentation from a psychic conference to a science conference, and changed kind of my trajectory, which is really wild to think about. And then it was really fun to later come back as an adult to Park Hill South and do some student teaching for my undergrad. And I got to do palm readings for all the philosophy class and scared some of the children. It was really fun. And I just have really been blessed with really great teachers along the way, which is why I'm so sad that I look now and I see that teachers aren't as excited or able to connect with kids, and that kids have got their phones and are so segmented from thinking that they can learn. I loved a lot. I had some really great teachers. I had some really bad teachers too, though, and not bad in a bad way, but there were some teachers that I made sure to leave a copy of both of my published books in their mailbox because they had told me I would amount to nothing. And I just thought that they should get a copy of not my first, but my second book and my Emmy Award that I won. And yeah, because not that those things matter for anything other than ego, but sometimes those things do matter in those small spaces of people that reiterated, you're never going to be anything. And then you do it, and you don't do it despite, but there is a feeling of, I just wanted to let you know that a teacher can have profound impact. And some of those were there too. Um, if you get a chance, look up L is for the Way on Twitch. She's a big political streamer and does deep dives and has been blocked from Twitter and YouTube. See, L is for the Way. Send it to me. Will you send it to me so that I'm not stuck looking up the wrong person? I hate to be lazy and ask that, but if it's somebody you already know and I'm not even on Twitch, I'm going to have to go to like twitch.com to figure out where I'm going to download something and find that person. But I'm always interested in having them on podcasts and talking to people. And I'm an old schooler. I will reach out and email someone. I don't care if they're Joe Rogan or not. And we talk. That's what I love about being able to know what the ego is and that everybody poops. So if there's information out there and you want it, you want to talk to that person, you want that perspective, I'll be damned if I live in the age of technology and don't use it to its full extent. So please do that. And if you're following me, if you're watching me right now, if you have a question or something that you're working on, reach out, let me know. You can find me at paranormalsarah.com or the paranormalsarah@gmail.com. And again, I will be traveling next month. I will be hopefully doing more conferences and speaking arrangements throughout the year. Depending on international travel, I'll be in a few different countries. So you guys be sure and let me know wherever you're located and what things you're working on, and we'll collaborate, maybe catch some tea, coffee, or chips and guac. And at the very least, try and catch me later tonight for a forensic discussion on fantasy and reality. If you're wanting the churchyard spread that I talked about in the beginning of this, just message me. They're $33 because I'm learning how I feel about the churchyard spread. I've not done it my whole life. I've only done it for a little bit. It was recommended to me by someone and I really like it. I like the linear kind of look to it. So yeah, just let me know. I'll be glad to do one of those for you. And then I work tonight until 5:30, and then I'll do dinner, and then I'll freshen my makeup and use the restroom and call my family and check in on people, and then I'll check back in on here. And I do hope I will see you joining me. So you guys have a great Thursday. Don't forget the moon is in Sagittarius. People are easily influenced. That means you too. So anchor a little bit, be grounded, use some of that earth energy, and I will see you later tonight.